Here we have a late 15th century mural painting by Leonardo da Vinci. The setting of this painting is the dining hall of Santa Maria del Grazie of Milan, which means Holy Mary of Grace.
This picture depicts the Last Supper held by Jesus and his 12 disciples before his crucifixion. During the meal, Jesus announces that one of them will betray him in the future.
Yes, indeed, and there are a few important features to this painting that need to be pointed out. First is the use of linear perspective by Leonardo, using the ceiling, the table, and the windows on both sides. It creates an image of a square room with the table sort of blocking off the path.
Another interesting feature is the outside scenery seen through the back windows. People often relate this peaceful looking place as paradise. Also, the overall form of Jesus is a sort of pyramidal shape, representing the Neoplatonism and the Trinity.
Speaking of the Trinity, there are a few important hidden messages Leonardo gives with the number 3. If you notice, all of the disciples are in groups of 3, and there are 3 windows through which you can see the land of paradise.
The most significant group of disciples, it seems, in this painting is the trio just left of Jesus, starting from John, Judas, to Peter. If you look close enough, Leonardo foretells the future through Peter and Judas.
You're right. Peter seems to be holding a knife, which foretells him cutting off the servant's ear, and Judas has knocked over a container of salt, which tells us he is going to be in big trouble.
Nonetheless, Jesus says in Matthew 26 that whoever dips his hand in the same dish as him shall also betray him. And here we see Judas reaching out and kind of backing away after realizing that Jesus was reaching out for the same dish.
Yes, and I love the facial expressions Leonardo portrayed on each of the disciples. Unfortunately, the Last Supper is in a really bad shape due to its humid location, poor restoration, and the bomb that hit the refectory, destroying a large section of it.
All right, moving on to the second piece here, we have The Swing by Leonardo and Fragonard. It's an oil painting done in 1767 through the Rococo era. The original title, Les Hasards Heureux de l'Escapolette, and this translates into The Happy Accidents of the Swing. It's one of Fragonard's most famous artworks that is currently housed in the Wallace Collection Museum in London.
Wow, this is definitely one of Fragonard's finest, and I believe this was one of his entrance artworks into the Rococo era. Tell me, Kevin, what is so unique about Rococo style art?
Well, Nick, Rococo style art originated in the early 18th century in Paris and arises from the burying of Louis XIV. His succession brought about a change in artistic perspective. It was a translational statement from the Baroque era to the late Baroque, in which artists escaped the confinements of Baroque-style symmetry. This movement allowed artists to be free and not worry about the technicalities of the past. There's usually the use of light colors, curves, and more of an asymmetrical organization.
Yes, indeed, and the Rococo artists, such as Fragonard, really outwit the Baroque artists in their approach to convey their underlying messages. Wouldn't you agree?
Indeed, the freedom in technique truly translates into an easier exposure to theme. Now let's look at this piece right here. Fragonard uses light colors to accentuate the light that beams in from the top left corner. The deflection off the trees and the swing itself really grasp the playfulness of Rococo art.
Also, notice the man that gets a peep under the woman's dress. Fragonard seems to be intentional with the direction of light that goes from the man's gaze to the woman's sensual parts.
Aside from the sexual playfulness, look at the background trees. They look like pastel works and gives a mystifying surrounding, also as if the man is dreaming. This is very Rococo art, as it comforts human imagination and strays away from the seriousness of Baroque.
As Jansen analyzes the Rococo era, he states that Rococo is known for its unabashed escapism and eroticism. And this is evident here in the swing. There is indeed this mysteriousness and the previously mentioned sensuality that comes with the Fragonard's work here.
Yes. If we look at the facial expression of the woman on the swing, it shows a blend of seductiveness and provocativeness. There's a sense of allowance, yet limit in her expression. Jansen also mentioned that Rococo was female-centered and really idolized love and feminine beauty. The focus of this work is the freedom of the woman to swing from her culturally sculpted hegemonic marriage to a hidden lover in the bush.
Yes, look at the man's expression. He has this blushing tone to his face, maybe reflecting curiosity and desire to explore more. There seems to be a role switch between sexes in Fragonard's work. As you said, femininity seems to possess the power and control of love in this case. Even the statue of Cupid on the left side is remaining silent as it holds a finger to his lips, a secretive expression of love.
There's also structural symbolism here to depict the pedestaling of the woman. Note that the husband and the lover form the base of the triangle, that the woman is the pinnacle of.
If I'm not mistaken, there are multiple replications of the swing. In 2001, Schoenberg did a replication of this work, as we see here, that adds dimension and life to Fragonard's work. Another interesting replication I came across was a photograph done by Kevin Chung in 2014. He attempts to reverse the sex roles in Fragonard's work by placing the man at the pinnacle of the pyramid with two women forming the base.
Yes, look at the seductive facial expression that this man is portraying. Although this strays away from female-centered Rococo art, it really allows us to ponder the patriarchy that is still thriving in today's society.
Well, all this meaning and symbolism truly shows the effectiveness of the Rococo style and Fragonard's consideration for patriarchy. The swing truly stands as one of the Fragonard's permanent stamps in the field of Rococo art.
It truly does, Nick. It truly does.